Now, your forecast first from KARK4, your weather authority.
It's been a cloudy, cool, and rainy Tuesday across Arkansas, but the rain will be ending over the next few hours. We'll start tomorrow morning cloudy, and we'll end the day with plenty of sunshine and warmer temperatures, but big changes are on the way by tomorrow night and Thursday morning. We'll have your forecast. KARK4 News at 6 starts right now.
Coming up, coping with tragedy.
I never saw that child when she wasn't happy. And this just breaks my heart.
A Faulkner County community in shock after a grandmother stabs her 7-year-old granddaughter and then sets her home on fire, killing both of them. Tonight, an in-depth look at what could have caused her to do it. Plus, the government shutting down several USDA offices in Arkansas, what the move could mean for local farmers. And after a budget mishap cost several state workers their job, the state now helping them find other work. It's Tuesday, January 10th.
Now, from the station you count on. In-depth investigative coverage of today's biggest stories. This is KARK4 News at 6 in high definition.
Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Bob Clausen.
And I'm Jessica Dean. One day after deputies announced a deadly fire in Faulkner County was actually a murder-suicide, and still few clues about exactly why that happened.
Investigators say that it may still take days or weeks before autopsy and toxicology reports tell us anything else. However, deputies say 63-year-old Janice Robbins stabbed her 7-year-old granddaughter Abby before setting her home on fire to kill herself. Robbins left behind a suicide note along with very important personal documents, even Abby's birth certificate. Deputies say Robbins' life had already been riddled with tragedy. One son died while serving in Iraq in 2005. Another reportedly committed suicide a few years ago. In 2010, though, Robbins legally adopted Abby. Neighbors and friends say they seem to be very happy and are struggling even to wrap their minds around what has happened.
There's no moral to this at all that I can even begin to figure out. I have 5 children of my own, and that would be the last thing I ever wanted to do was to take my child's life.
But maybe if there is a moral to this, mental health experts say it is about awareness. KARK4's Lauren Traeger joining us now with an in-depth look. Lauren?
Well, Bob, it is important to note we don't know exactly what Janice Robbins was going through or thinking before this, and we may never know for sure. But deputies say Janice was suffering from depression. She and Abby, they say, may have been seeking counseling already. So today I sat down with an expert to ask what can be learned from all of this. Now, Kim Arnold, executive director of the Arkansas branch of the National Alliance on Mental Illness, says 1 in 4 Arkansans has some kind of mental illness, but often the warning signs of depression specifically are ignored. A family history of depression and of suicide, Arnold says, does put someone at a greater risk of doing similar harm to themselves. And she adds that sometimes the despair can grow just so great that a depressed person can believe there's no hope even for their loved ones. But Arnold says depression is a disease we must view just like cancer. With treatment, it can get better. And to keep a tragedy like that one from striking again, Arnold says it's all about opening up, even if it means being blunt.
You're afraid you're going to hurt somebody's feelings if you talk to them or maybe accuse them of being depressed, and that's really not the case. That's probably the greatest thing we can do is ask somebody, are you feeling okay? I'm worried about you.
And maybe the takeaway from all of this, there is help out there. If you or someone you know rather needs help, you can find resources by going to our website, arkansasmatters.com. Jessica, back to you.
All right, thanks, Lauren. Budget issues forcing the USDA to tighten its belt. The government agency says it's cutting nearly 300 offices nationwide, 16 of those right here in Arkansas. So how will this move affect Arkansas farmers? KARK4's Adam Rodriguez spent some time in rural Arkansas today to find out.
Hardin Farms in Market 2 has become a long-standing tradition of delicious food in central Arkansas.
We do vegetables, we do sweet corn, watermelons, cantaloupe.
And don't forget the pecans. But the USDA's decision to close 16 offices in Arkansas will put a strain on farming families like the Hardins.
Well, with the USDA closing all these offices, are Arkansas farmers in trouble, you think?
Well, I don't know. You know, it's kind of premature, I guess, to say that they're in trouble, but I see that there's a good potential for us to have some big problems.
I need a lot of different people within the USDA to help my farm stay viable, you know, and I think if that resource is shrinking, then that's obviously going to have a direct effect, you know, on our farm.
Son Josh Hardin recently branched out with a farm of his own and says the resources and financing offered by the USDA are a huge help.
You know, we need a lot of resources, a lot of help. We need people who are, there for us whenever we, have issues and we're trying to figure out solutions.
Arkansas Senator Mark Pryor says the USDA is closing offices in 13 Arkansas counties, including Benton, Bradley, Faulkner, Fulton, Garland, Hot Spring, Izard, Johnson, Lafayette, Logan, Pulaski, Sevier, and White counties. KARK4 News tried talking to a couple of local USDA offices, including the state's main office in Little Rock. They wouldn't talk. They only referred us to the national offices in Washington, D.C., and so far they haven't returned our calls for comment. Hardin says he understands why the USDA is cutting back, and it might even be a good thing.
Less people, I think, creates an opportunity to have more specialized people in these agencies and to really shrink and maybe make them more effective,
But while some pruning can help or even save the tree, too much can kill it.
And the USDA says that the cuts were necessary to avoid furloughs and other layoffs. So far, they say the cuts will save them $150 million. Back to you.
In just 3 days, 36 Arkansas Forestry Commission workers, they will be out of a job. We've been telling you about this for weeks now, but the financial fiasco that leaders say led to those layoffs. Today, 17 of those laid off workers attended a seminar to help them move on, file for unemployment, and look for other work. KARK has spoken with several of those workers, but they have declined to talk with us on camera at this time. After 23 years, North Little Rock Mayor Patrick Hayes says he's moving on.
I'm young enough and I feel healthy enough and fit enough that I've got another career in me.
What that career might be, he would not say, perhaps goose hunter. But he says that he has hinted that he might be done at City Hall for at least the last couple of months. He hinted that. Hayes says that Father Time has been the biggest factor influencing his decision. He says that he'd be 70 years old at the end of another term, and he has other things that he'd like to do, like spending time with his grandchildren and cycling. But he says he is pleased with the progress the city has made during his service there.
Investigators still searching for a man they believe kidnapped an elderly Washington County couple, strapped a bomb to the woman's leg, and forced her to walk into a Fayetteville bank. KARK4's Aaron Nolan is now following this story for us tonight. He's joining us now live from Fayetteville with more. Hi, Aaron.
Yeah, Jessica, it's a wild story that really has gained attention from all over the country, that is in the media outlets all over the country. A man forces a woman to walk into a bank with a bomb while her husband is duct taped down at their own home. And for the first time, this 73-year-old woman spoke with us.
It was a very scary situation.
Tuesday, Herbert and Betty Davis are on their way to talk with investigators 24 hours after an experience they'll never forget.
When I went to the door and the man, he was out there and he told me that he was hurt, I did a foolish thing. I went out the door.
It was a man 73-year-old Betty Davis didn't know.
Opened the door and said, let me call somebody for you. And he got up and grabbed her.
Davis says she was forced back inside her home, where the man waited for her husband to return and then duct taped him to a chair.
It's so unusual. This is a quiet neighborhood, and for anything like that to happen here.
He had tied my grandmother up too, but he just wanted money, and so he held a gun at him and made her go with him to the bank.
Betty Davis says the man strapped a bomb to her leg and demanded that she drive to Arvest Bank in Fayetteville, where investigators say she walked in and immediately alerted everyone she had a bomb. Everyone inside, including Davis, now okay. But the strange story continued. Authorities went to the Davis' Washington County home. It was there they found her husband, Herbert, taped to a chair, unharmed.
We're working with the police and the FBI and everything.
The Davises will stay resilient, while that day, unlike any other, may continue to keep them up at night.
What had happened?
Much sleep. But otherwise, we're fine. Yes, we're fine.
The investigation is ongoing here at the Washington County Sheriff's Office, where we have just found out new information that the vehicle that was stolen by this unknown man, fingerprints were taken there, as well as inside the home of Herbert and Betty Davis. Those fingerprints have been sent to the state crime lab. Now, there also is an updated description of this man, about 6 foot tall, medium to large build. He maybe have a black ski mask, but not a lot of information at this time about this man. Jessica, let's head back to you.
All right, wishing that couple well. It's quite an ordeal. Thanks, Aaron. Well, tonight, the North Little Rock School District hoping a regular habit for most teens could actually help alert them to crime on campus. District officials and North Little Rock Police announced Text a Tip today on campus. It allows students to simply text their tip directly to police, and it's anonymous.
A lot of people will say, well, won't we be able to be traced? No, the system is completely anonymous. It goes through a third party somewhere else, is encrypted, and we never understand who we're receiving the tip from unless they voluntarily tell us.
Using that service is easy. All you have to do is text the word crimes or 274637 and use the keyword NLR schools. Then just add your tip. That service now in operation.
Parts of South University Avenue back open tonight after being blocked to traffic after a water main break. It happened just before 11 this morning in the 3400 block of University Avenue. Central Arkansas Water telling KARK that a contractor accidentally broke the water main while installing a line for Windstream. The southbound lanes of University Avenue, Colonel Glenn, were quickly shut down to fix the problem, but thankfully they are now back open. Before you get into your car, listen up. The State Highway Department now giving you the chance to avoid delays on the roadway. Check this out. This is the Red Zone program now underway by the Arkansas Highway Department. Using it is rather simple. Just head to their website, click on the Red Zone icon, and instantly you can see where the last construction zones and in return avoid congested, or see where the construction zones are, avoid congested areas, and also plan ahead if need be. To check out the Red Zone site, just go to our website, arkansasmatters.com. When you get there, click on the hot button.
And still ahead, all eyes on the New Hampshire primary as the GOP candidates stump for those last-minute votes tonight. Who would win if the primaries were in Arkansas? We're going to hear from you coming up next.
I'm Jason Snavely, coming up to sports. Well, the good news just keeps coming for Razorback football. 4 days after a Cotton Bowl victory, they find out their star running back Niall Davis will return for his senior year. Hear what we had to say today on the Hill later in sports.
You're watching KARK 4 News at 6 with Bob Clausen, Jessica Dean, Chief Meteorologist Keith Monahan, and sports with Carrie O'Hara.